Alright guys, Fula coming to you with another video. I hope all is well. Hope y'all are doing well in these crazy, confusing times we living in. So I'm gonna cut straight to it. If you guys are offended by it, I apologize, but I hold my line, and I'm gonna continue to hold my line. If you want to correct me and your correction is valid, I'm gonna listen to it. But if not, and your criticism is just, null and void, then I'm 9 times out of 10 gonna delete your comment. And that's just the bottom line. Now, I was on the panel yesterday again on the Bingo Live. To be honest with you, that Bingo Live is pretty cool if you want to just kick the shit. You know what I mean? So there was an individual on that panel, which I will keep anonymous out of respect, and this is in regards to the carbonnation sector. Now, the thing is about this carbonnation sector, it's a messy sector. Your best bet in being in the carbonnation sector is to be outside looking in. That's the best position to play. That's the safest position to play as well. Therefore, you avoid any, how should I put it, any entanglements which will jeopardize your family, maybe jeopardize your livelihood, maybe jeopardize even your life. You know what I mean? But I said something. I said velvet is for the streets. I straight out said it. No filters held. I said velvet is for the streets. And this individual said that you shouldn't say that because what they were alluding to is that Velvet was still young and she didn't go through a whole phase. Then I told her that my sisters or my relatives they didn't go through no whole phase. They didn't do that. My parents and my relatives saw to it that they got married quick. You know what I mean? And sometimes the marriages were arranged, other times they weren't arranged. Because what happens is, where I come from, we look at that as a safeguard, to avoid being in a whole phase. But this individual said that all Western women go through a whole phase in their life. You know what I mean? So when this was said to me, this in essence made me even more and reinforced with my ideas that, it's better to stick with my own than venture outside the bubble. And what I mean by sticking by my own, I mean by African, be it they be from, where I'm from in West Africa, be it they be from Central Africa, be it that they be even from East Africa. And, despite the fact that, in Caribbean culture, you have the carnival and things of that nature, you will find that a lot of Caribbean women are very much traditional and were raised in traditional values. But when this individual said that, for the American woman, what she meant by that was she meant every woman that is classified as American, meaning it doesn't matter regardless of their color. But in the contents of Velvet's case, she meant Black American women. So if I do have any Black American female subscribers, I need you to rebuttal what she is saying. Because if this is the case with all Black American women, that they have a whole phase, then we can see why the family structure is messed up the way it is here. We can see why the quote unquote called generational curses are being exhibited 9 times out of 10. If this is the truth. Now I need to know. I want to know. Because I will hope that that's not the case. I will hope that this is not the norm. You know what I mean? Because this individual verbatim said that every woman has a whole face. That's what she said. Now, I hope this isn't true. I'm gonna be real with you though. I'm gonna be completely honest with you when it comes to this. And I'm talking to males too. I'm talking to like black males. I'm talking to black males from Africa. I'm talking to black males from Caribbean. I'm talking to black males from Latin America. I'm talking to black males from from America. You can't, if what she is saying is true, if what indeed she is saying is true, you have to starve these women of your manioca. Because the way I look at it, and this happens a lot of times, is once a guy gets pussy whooped, his emotions go out the door, his logic goes out the door, and his emotions take over. You know, in our school of thought, in the esoteric realm, sex is looked at as something that, you know, if done right, it can get you closer to God. Because of the simple fact that, you know, there is a difference between sexual relations, and there's a difference between sexual union. What we should be striving for is sexual union. You know what I mean? And I don't want to go over your head, but the thing is, the fact of the matter is that God has masculine traits and feminine traits. So when it comes down to it, the male represents the masculine traits of God, and the female represents the feminine traits of God. And then when you put those two together, it's like yin and yang, and they come together as one thing. They represent the unity of God, being one unique, omnipotent deity. So, if what she said is true, I encourage my brothers to not give it up that easy and not just sleep with everything that opens his legs. Because I'm sorry to say it, when you sleep with the Bonquishas and the Chantels of the world, you're in for some toxicity. Okay? You may think that you're just like, you know, I got one. I'm just getting one. I'm just getting my thing off. You know what I mean? But she is thinking, I got him now. You know, I got him where I want him. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, what may come with that is a kid involved. And then once the kid gets involved and you realize how toxic Bonquisha or Chantel is, you're in a compromised position, because now you're dealing with another life. And that other life did not ask to be here. And also that other life is deserving of a two-parent household, which brings them up in the proper way, that they won't fall for the crap that is going on outside. So I encourage men, you know what I mean, to not do what Nature Boy is doing. To not just put your dick in everything that you see moving. And no matter what, even if a girl is going through a whole phase disguised as feminism and disguised as sexual liberation, you must deprive them of that. You must do that for the betterment of you and for the betterment of the generation to come. Okay? I was shocked when she said this. I was very shocked. I'm like, what the hell? Are you serious? And, you know, because she said this led to this video being, like, made. You know what I mean? This led to me making this video. This led to me giving my thoughts on her comments. You know what I mean? Because of the simple fact that, you know, if you have to understand something, like you can't with that kind of logic, right? If you have that kind of logic, that kind of is in essence what she is doing. For example, is you see Velvet thotting around. You know, you see Velvet being a thought, right? She's in essence excusing Velvet and justifying her actions for being a thought. And let's look at the double standards of it. Now, granted, if the shoe was on the other foot and the dude was doing it, then all hell, it would be hell for that guy, right? He's being a dog, he's being misogynistic, he's doing that, right? But when it comes to Velvet doing it, oh, she's just going through her whole phase. You know, every woman has it. It's normal. Listen, you gotta hold them to account too. You gotta hold these women to account as well. You can't give them that pass. You know, you cannot give them that pass no matter what. Even if they say that kind of crap and stuff like that, you cannot give them that pass. And the thing is, and I can get into this. Maybe I will get into it. Maybe I will do a different video breaking down my tribal code of conduct, because we do have a tribal code of conduct, right? And it's called pulaku, okay? And a lot of times when, you know, we exhibit pulaku, a lot of times people say, oh, he's arrogant. A lot of times people say, oh, he's stuck up. A lot of times people say, oh, he thinks he's better. A lot of times people will say these things, but that is not the case at all. It's just that living in the West, you have to have a code of conduct. You know what I mean? And part of our code of conduct is, you know, modesty. And part of our code of conduct is shame. Because we have a saying, dignity is like oil. Once it's spilled, it cannot be getting back. So, with this being said, I'm going to say this to all my male listeners, okay? Keep the black household, keep the black family structure intact. Keep the mother there, keep the father there, and don't just go for any bonquisha, and don't just succumb to this girl's whole phase. Because the fact of the matter is, with this girl's whole phase, this is why we're in the situation we're in right now. And that's just the reality. Okay? Because it does take two to tango. And so guys have succumbed to this. So with her whole phase, if what she proves is true, don't succumb to it. Okay? Keep the black structure in order. And if you want, you know, look outside of the Black American group. Look at other blacks. Look at Black Caribbean women. Look at, you know, Black African women. Look at Black Latin women. If your morals and values have substance, then go ahead. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean you have to put down Black American women. That just simply means you look elsewhere within the Black diaspora in order to keep from that toxicity from occurring. You know? Because when you look at Velvet, she is for the streets, whether you like it or not. When you look at Seven, she is for the streets. When you look at any one of those women from Carbonnation, they are from the streets. When you look at Nateri, she is from the streets. There's no justification in doing what they're doing at all. And women feel some type of way because they share a bond with them. and that's completely understandable. But a guy who was raised on traditional values, a guy who's from the old school, but is in a young body, in a young age, but has an old soul, this shit is not going to fly. And yes, I might be looked at as weird. Yes, I might be looked at as funny. Yes, I might be looked at as misogynistic and things like that. But I can tell you one thing. I'm free of baby mamas. Okay? When I marry, it's going to be a wife, and then I'm going to have kids. Okay? And my wife is going to be a high caliber woman. I can tell you that much. And just because this individual said the whole phase is normal with women, with every woman, she said, doesn't mean that us as males have to succumb to it. We have to hold ourselves in high esteem. We have to hold ourselves in dignity. We have to get our power back. You know, sex is a powerful thing, but it's also a sacred thing. Keep it that way. You know. And as I said, if I offended any women, it is what it is. I don't hold back my tongue. And if I offended any men, it is what it is. I don't hold back my tongue. Because one last thing I'm going to say about it is when you look at individuals like Kevin Samuels, who are his audience? Who are the callers? They're usually Black American women with more than one kid who are single mothers. So with that being said, that just goes to show you what type of time we're on and how toxic things have become. So in order to fight that, you have to be radical, and you have to be radical in your approach to these women, even if that means depriving them of dick. That's how it has to be. So you can keep things, so you can keep peace for yourself, and you can also keep peace for the future generations ahead of you. Don't let her ride a dick carousel and you be one of the niggas that she rides. Because when you look at Velvet, for example, Shaka Zulu had a turn. I think another nigga had a turn. Nature Boy had a turn. Omek had a turn. When you look at Nateri, most of the Carbonnation guys had a turn over there. Don't do that. Don't be one of those guys. Starve them out. But this fool is signing out. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments about what she said. And please, if she's wrong, correct her in the comment section. Njaram. Forgive me, but I have to add something else to this video. Okay, that just dawned on me. Now that I really think about the whole spectrum of this crap. So, you know, one of the last conversations that me and Ermias Ascadome, which y'all know as the late great Nip Hussle, had before his passing, is we were talking about women. And you know what he said? He told me, and this is verbatim what he said. He said, you know, young Fula, I don't really engage in the groupie. I don't really engage in the groupie thing. You know what I mean? He said that, as a matter of fact, he was practicing celibacy. Now, this is completely understandable because of the simple fact that his first baby mama, aka China Hustle, what has been conveyed to me from homies from the hood is that she has another kid. She has another boy. Okay? That was a toxic relationship he found himself in. You know what I mean? So instead of reliving that, he decided that the best way, the prevention from that, is just not doing anything at all. And converting that energy into like starting businesses, doing mixtapes, doing Marathon Monday, which he came out with a song every Monday. There was one period of time which he did that. Okay, that's what he turned that energy into. Now, another thing that needs to be said about that is that he knew what was at stake. Okay, he knew that, like, when you, if you do that, if you give that energy to, like, say, a groupie or something like that, that energy may result into a kid that was not expected, and then there you have it. You have to take care of it. Many rappers have fallen into that trap. Many athletes have fallen into that trap. Look at Sean Kemp, for example. Look at Drake, for example. You know, so with that being said, that just furthered my reserve to, you know, follow that same path. Because you have to understand that, you know, he was reaching the pinnacle of success and could have had his pick of the litter. But he stayed the course and stayed down. And this was passed on to me. And the way I look at it is, until I find that African woman of high caliber, till I find that African woman who can enhance what I got going on spiritually, economically. I don't mean just giving me money. I mean giving me ideas to get more money, and who understands the nature of boxing and what that entails, and who can give me different books to read and stuff like that, then I'm you know, it's cold turkey until then, because it'll be a cold day in hell before I'm caught with an illegitimate child. And you know how my tribe would look at me? I'm sorry to say it, but and every child needs love, you know. But in my tribe, if you have a child outside of the marriage bonds, that child is going to be looked at very differently. So why risk people showing contempt for your child? Why risk that? And then as in return that child comes up, he becomes toxic and he becomes mad at the world because his mother couldn't keep her legs closed. And his father was a willing participant in falling for the gas. But until the next video, all I'm going to say is traditional African manhood until I die. Traditional old school African values until I die. And down with neo-feminism, down with sexual liberation, and down with fake, phony women empowerment movements. Until next time, Njarama.